welcome to my hideous kitchen. Just moved into this house not too long ago, and one of the things that was killing me when we bought this house was the colors in this kitchen. This floor with green and gold. Oh man, it's like so 70s. And the countertop to match it, ooh, it kills me. So this is just one of those cheap particle board countertops. Decided to, instead of installing a new one, because this is just a temporary home that we're planning to move out of in the near future, a starter home, I'm gonna just paint it and make it look a lot better and more appeasing to my eyes. So that's the project we're doing today, is painting the countertops. So today's prep work, which from my understanding is probably one of the most important things. So, excuse me. I've got some allergies acting up. So today, scrape off some caulk, get it taped up, and then use some acetone, which actually was a tip someone gave me, that if you don't clean off this shiny surface, you can see a little bit, the paint will actually peel off very soon. Hey, look at that. My cup matches the countertop and floors too. Ha. Funny. But, alrighty, so let's get started. In case you're wondering, this is just a razor blade. I'm just scraping on it right off. Coming off pretty easily. I wish it was a little bit newer so it wouldn't be tearing apart like this, but I'll get it off soon. Then we'll move on to prepping the surface. So up next, I'm gonna clean the surface off so that the paint sticks and doesn't peel off with some acetone. Just gotta get this open first. There we go. I'm starting off with some paper towel. I do have some scrub. I do have some steel wool. Just starting out with the paper towel and seeing how much more I need. If I need all that other scrubbing material or not, or if just the acetone itself will do the trick. So I never actually used it on countertops before. So we'll find out what happens. Might wanna make sure you get a window open. This stuff is potent. I don't know how well you can see from that angle. You can see how it's not quite as shiny here as up there. So that's all I really gotta do, is get rid of that, basically, the shine. Get rid of the shine. See how this does. See how the scrub does. So like I said, I've never really used it on the countertop before. Might try that steel wool, or maybe even just sandpaper. Let's see. I'll continue like this. So I ended up switching over to 80 grit sandpaper, a little black. Video doesn't really do it justice. It looks pretty shiny still in the video, but in actuality, it's pretty dull in real life. Like, I'm surprised at how dull and how quickly and easily that was. I just one time over the top of the entire surface with that 80 grit and acetone, and it really dulled the surface. Huge difference between the two sides, but the video doesn't really do it justice. It still looks shiny. You can almost kind of tell, like right in here, where you can start seeing a little bit the dullness. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on this side. So this side, it's a little bit dirtier, but you can almost tell right in there that this side is still just as shiny. Alright, on to taping, and what we're using today is this texturized Rust-Oleum. It's like a sandstone looking color. You can see the little textures in it. So with this kind of spray, I just want to be careful to not overspray, or to not, So with this kind of spray, I just want to be careful not to spray too close, because I'll just clump all this stuff together and look bad, so I have to hold it far back. And I have to be very careful of overspray, so I kind of taped and overprotected everything. I started on this side, just kind of show you guys the first layer of paint. Very uneven so far, but I didn't want to spray too much in one part, because then it starts looking like that. And you can start seeing a little bit of the texture in it, so I think it's gonna turn out pretty good. It's gonna be very difficult getting back there. To tell you the truth, I tried taking out the entire sink. Turns out my hot water supply doesn't have actually any cutoff valve. The only cutoff valve would be at the boiler, and that one was kind of stuck. And didn't want to risk busting that, so I might look at that later when I'm trying to paint back there and get frustrated. But for now, I'm just using the I'm just gonna try to squeeze the paint can back here and get as good as I can back there and see what happens. So I just finished up my 7th can of spray. It looks pretty good, it looks pretty even, it's still drying, so you see some streaks in it. But one thing I do want to point out, right here, I did it kind of like peeled here. I can't remember exactly. Something touched it while it was wet, but it happened a little while ago, and actually in person it looks a lot better than it does on the camera. That's kind of what you see in person. This thing, I think it's because that it's so wet. But it doesn't look as bad in person. What I had to do though was I sanded it down, and I might do it one more time just with some fine sandpaper and just really small piece, just kind of go right over here and just try to touch up the vein looking things. And so that way, if you sand it down, it's textured, and you'll lose a lot of the texture and it'll look funky. But you can sand down some of the imperfections. Make sure you have some more spray. Like I ran out of spray, so I don't think if I sand that down, I won't be able to spray some more. And I don't think it's gonna really be worth going and buying more paints, but I might. I'll see how it looks after it's sanded. But this is pretty much the finished product as far as paint. The only thing I have left now is the poly, which I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum Ultimate Poly spray can. This one is a semi-gloss. So we'll see how that looks. I'll show you guys the final product on that too. Alright, just finished the second coating, second can of polyurethane. It's probably about 4 coats total on each side. It's kind of the final product. Give a nice little shine to it. And actually it's pretty darn even. It's still drying right now, but overall it's pretty good. So once again, here it is. I use this Rust-Oleum polyurethane. This is the semi-gloss, which has still a little bit of a shine to it. It's not too shiny, but I like it. It's a good deal, good fit for this. The only thing what I'm worrying about is overspray. Right in there you can see a little bit. It's kind of yelled it just a bit. I mean, that is behind the faucet, so I'm not too worried about that anyways. So, final product here. I'll remove all of this out of the way here. Just give me a second. We'll take all the newspapers and the pregnancy magazines off the sink, and I'll show you what it looks like. Another little tip is if you just take a little blade here and cut this right at the edge of the tape so you don't risk peeling any of the paint off. This tape has been on here for about 4 or 5 days, so it's I never removed it in between the paints, so this is pretty sealed in here, so if I don't cut it, it would potentially peel some of the paint off this top backsplash here. So a little tip, it does help save some heartache when you finish the job. Try to take the paint off, and then you have peeling paint, and then you have the exposed countertop underneath. And last step for this one is just caulking the edges, and we're all set after that. Okay, so it's been about good 3-4 months or so, and last time we saw the pregnancy magazines. This time we have all the baby bottles, so clearly they're in Enfamil, so clearly there's a baby that is here now. But it's holding up pretty nicely. It's been about 4 months, and you can tell right in here there's a little chip that happened the other day. It's probably because I didn't get enough acetone on the edge there, whereas the flat surface looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. It looks much better. Since then, I've also painted my cabinets. I don't know, I'm sure you saw in the first ones they were white, and then I got rid of that floor. I just did stick-on tiles, just like they're vinyl, stick-on vinyl tiles, and I think that I am very happy with what my kitchen turned out to be. But very cheap, probably less than $50 to paint this countertop here, versus paying a couple hundreds to buy a whole new countertop.